here now to discuss this new development in the case is entertainment attorney Tre Lovell. Tre, it is great to have you. And this, man, has it been making headlines? I think the obvious first question being, why now for this case to be re-examined? There have been a number of events leading up to this moment. What do you believe were the biggest tipping points?
Well, I certainly think that the Netflix documentary put immediate attention on it. And I think there have been some social pushes over the last few years. I know that there was, I think, a TikTok group that was pushing for the release. Celebrities like Rosie O'Donnell, Kim Kardashian, so they have been pushing it for a while. But I think everything kind of came to the precipice now, kind of triggered by the documentary. I think the petition to have him released was filed maybe a year and a half ago. So it's not just immediate, but I think just a number of factors have come to light, at this intersection at this time, which has kind of triggered it.
Do you believe they can, in fact, get another trial? And if so, how likely do you think it is that it could result in a different verdict?
I don't even think they're going to get a new trial. I think they're going to get out. I think the legal arguments are strong. There's a petition for habeas corpus, which means that evidence has emerged after the conviction that had it been part of the original trial may have had a different result, and the strong evidence corroborating this abuse and this motivation of fear. And then they're also going for resentencing, which means they're going to look at the conduct after they were convicted. Have they been a problem in prison, or have they been model inmates? And it looks like the evidence really shows that these are some really good guys. They've been model inmates. They've done a lot of good things. So the legal grounds are pretty strong to ask the judge, say, hey, can you recall the first-degree murder conviction, inject manslaughter in there and release them on time served. I think that's probably the most likely result.
Wow. So one of the jurors who actually sat in the trial was on NewsNation's Banfield. This was last night. I find this fascinating. Here's what she had to say when asked about whether she believed the claims of sexual abuse during this trial. These were her words.
There were no cameras in the bedroom. There's no proof of sexual abuse, but there were, teachers and coaches and family members all testified to various forms of neglect and physical abuse and mental and emotional abuse. If you took sex out of it, you'd still have plenty of types of abuse. And then we had expert witnesses that testified to how a child's brain develops and how they can turn out to be in fear of their parents, whether or not the parents were planning to kill them.
So this defense, it didn't have enough pull with the whole jury, as you know, to have an impact. This was back in the 90s. Do you think this would go over differently nowadays? And is that playing into why this case is now being re-examined?
I do. I think it was just a different time then. The convictions were coming off of the O.J. Simpson acquittal. The DA's office was pretty adamant about trying to get a conviction. I think times were a little more rigorous back then. Society has changed a little bit. They're looking at incarceration differently, rehabilitation differently. And I think that's going to make a difference. And I think if the average person looks at this and says, hey, you've got these two young boys at the time, they were being sexually abused, evidence has arisen that kind of corroborates that. And they've already served 35 years. They've proven to be model inmates, good people. They've served their debts to society. I think the average person would probably agree with that. And that's kind of what's different now.
Wow, it's really fascinating, the dynamics of all of this. One we will certainly keep an eye on. Tre Lovell, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.